Awesome. So, what competencies are expected of therapeutic rec professionals, and what code of ethics and/or standards of practice are followed by the professionals at your organization?
Can you repeat the first part of that question? It cut out. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. What competencies are expected of therapeutic recreation professionals?
What competencies are expected of recreation therapy professionals? Well, for oftentimes our program is a great option for professionals that are kind of entry level into the therapeutic recreation field. So, at a minimum, with we would like for somebody that is going to be a recreation therapist with our program, we would like for them to have graduated with their degree and either in the process of pursuing their CTRS certification within 6 months to a year, or who have already completed their CTRS certification. Um, we go by the guidelines of competencies for NCTRC and their job roles. So that's a lot of what I look at when we're starting to be able to help um, place individuals in their best roles and in their competencies within programming. Um, and as far as code of ethics go, ATRA has always been kind of the go-to standard of code of ethics. For recreation therapy specifically, obviously, we also follow another code of ethics through PATH International, which is the therapeutic riding organization, and that over the standards of practice and code of ethics that oversees the foundation of our writing program as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then number nine, do you feel there are enough therapeutic rec interventions provided for your clients? And then if not, what barriers do you face with providing the services?
I mean, we can always be doing more, right? So, I think the core interventions of what we do really well. But I would love to have more professionals, more funding for more professionals on hand that could do more community based adaptive sports recreation, or like adaptive sports in terms of recreation with what we do, whether it would be on site or working with individuals in the community, helping them to be more active in sports and recreation within their own micro communities.
Got it. And then what documentation is required by the professionals providing therapeutic recreation services?
A CTRS certificate, which
Okay.
would then also show me that, well, yes, a CTRS certificate would suffice. In most cases, most of them also do have a bachelor's degree. Um, um, but that would be its baseline, like that would be the very basic certification requirements. I also do like to see that they have some sort of continuing education or training in a specified like interest or intervention that they primarily like to provide. So for horses, it's obviously equine. For sports, it could be something like yoga or personal training certificate, something that shows that they have gone above and beyond on education and training in the realm of which they are going to be facilitating.
Got it. And then how do you evaluate the outcome of specific therapeutic programs?
Going through their goals. So the students come in and they do goal intakes and they do assessments. Our students that are in the full-time school program, they do assessments at the end of each quarter and then like big reviews at the end of each semester. Um, and we work towards making sure that we're meeting their goals and adjusting programming as needed. For horses, it's more semester based rather than quarter based, and then they have curriculum that they are able to follow in order to grow within their skill sets. So we have different ways of assessing the interventions, the intervention outcomes specific to each program. This also includes obviously meeting and chatting with families and getting their perspective on evaluations.
Okay, got it. And then number 12, how do all the professionals collaborate to address client outcomes? And what is the role of therapeutic recreation in accomplishing these outcomes?
in a traditional sense, we like on a broad, a traditional and broad sense of a multidisciplinary team is that within our organization we do work with a lot of different therapists, whether it be through the schools that we work with or the individual students will chat and communicate with their different therapists on a daily basis. But in kind of the micro level within our organization, we are really our own multidisciplinary team as well. So while yes, our program does have a strong foundation in recreation therapy practices and principles, we do have a wide variety of professionals that provide services within just, our day-to-day school program. So whether that be like our vocational leader, our academic teachers, the equine programming, there's different roles that are played within the team, and so we come together as a multidisciplinary team to discuss outcomes with the students and how things are going, and we always fall back on what other types of purposeful and motivating interventions can be used in order to help our students really truly be able to achieve their goals. So if somebody isn't meeting their goals or isn't progressing, why is it, and taking a look at it more from that rec therapy lens of what interventions can go in place that are motivating, that are purposeful, that are providing that functional ability or that functional aspect for them to have a better chance of stepping into the goals that they're trying to achieve.
Okay. And then this is a pretty obvious answer, but I'm going to ask anyways because it's on here. What resources are needed for therapeutic recreation services? So like staff, volunteers, space, supplies, money.
From the business perspective or from from the client perspective?
I would just say like from the client perspective in a sense of like when the client comes in, like what do you guys need to do from your end to make sure that the staff is like adequate, the volunteers are adequate, and the same with the space, supplies, and obviously the money.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it starts with client intakes, right? So, as a client calls and you go through and assess whether or not what their goals are aligned with the type of services that we provide and if we can support them. From there, then it's making sure that we have the horses, the equipment, the staff, the volunteers all set up that can assist in the service provision, making sure staff are trained, horses are trained, volunteers are trained respectively, going through and making sure if there's any adaptive equipment that's needed or any types of like tools and resources, whether it be like a job board or behavior lists or whatever it might look like in order to help them be successful within their sessions. The parent plays a very important role in these resources and making sure that the follow through from beginning to end is appropriate for their kid and that we are all working as a team together.
Okay. And then how do you obtain the support and resources that you need?
That's a very big question. Asking. Obtaining the support and resources that we need. Let's see. In terms of the business support and resources that we need, a lot of that would be working with the families to find donors and grants or to raise money to purchase things like horses, additional equipment, like that kind of stuff. Let's see, other resources, academic and training resources. We use a lot of online resources for that. And we have different professionals come in and help teach and speak with our staff on different pieces. But our program is also pretty self-funded through the services that we provide. So the service fees also do help to obtain a lot of like what is needed in the general budget.
Okay. And then 15 is a little bit long, but the questions are all pretty like basic questions, I would say. So the question is, can you share more detail about who benefits from your certain intervention / programs? And it has each kind of like area. So the first one is like, how many clients do you serve?
So we have 17 students in our full-time school program, and then we see about I would say about 45 students a week in our equine program that rotate between private lessons and then the two schools that come in.
Okay, and then what are their ages and age characteristics?
Majority of the students that we serve right now are teenagers and young adults, but we do provide services to kids as young as 5 years old.
Okay. And describe the disabilities amongst the population that you deal with.
Yeah, so the common theme for our students is students with social learning disabilities and developmental disabilities. A lot of our students fall into that autism spectrum diagnosis, but they vary in where on that spectrum they fall.
Okay. And then what type of secondary conditions exist?
A lot of stuff currently right now would be more in the mental health realm with depression, anxiety, sorry, I heard somebody coming upstairs. A lot of that is a lot of the co-occurring stuff right now. I mean, some of our other students have different levels of intellectual disability that co-occurs. Like some of our students have recently been diagnosed with POTS. We have students with cardiovascular challenges, vision challenges, hearing challenges, cerebral palsy.
Okay. And then the last part of this question is, can you tell me about the adaptations and safety concerns?
For the programming that we provide?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really adapted to each student to fit their needs and goals. And then, so, I mean, if I have them on a horse, I'm going to make sure that they're on a horse that's appropriate for them, both size-wise and temperament of the horse, along with the movement of the horse, that it's going to provide the stability or the type of movement that's needed for whatever the intervention is that specific intervention is I'm trying to use the horse for. Things like adaptive equipment could be things like gait belts, different style reins, adding things onto the reins to make the grips easier. We use a lot of like modified resources with like visual boards, visual games, task lists, checklists, behavior charts. So we use a lot of those types of tools. We use a lot of just like games and things that will help students be able to accomplish the tasks that they're trying to accomplish. So modifications across the board, depending on whatever it is that we are trying to accomplish.
Okay. And then how do you promote therapeutic rec services and advocate for these programs with admin, stakeholders, funders, and other allied health professionals?
Not nearly as well as they should anymore, but through a lot of, we try to do our best to send updates via email, end of the year reports, just general, like people like that donate horses or who are sponsoring horses or some of the programs that we do. We'll send like picture updates and updates on things that are happening around the barn. But that's definitely an area that we are working to expand.
Got it. And then how do the TR program support the mission and goals of your organization?
To be teaching kids in a way that is purposeful and enjoyable to them, because by working from a TR Foundation, it's allowing us to provide functional services, whether it be education or therapeutic, that are relevant to our students and that are enjoyable to our students.
Okay, and then do you have, so I'm not sure if you did this assignment when you were at ASU, I'm sure you probably did, but do you have a written plan of operation? And then what challenges do you face in maintaining a WPO if you do have one?
So I definitely had one as I was putting the whole thing together, right? The whole program together. Our program has shifted substantially in the past the past 4 years. So I do not have a complete updated WPO for where we stand at this point in time because we've gone through so many different shifts. That as things unfold, as policies need to be put in place, this, that, or the other, those are things that we do work to make sure that we're writing down and getting in place for the staff. It's just not all in a pretty binder like it used to be.
Okay. And then last two questions. Number one, is your program licensed and or accredited?
So that is, so we are member centers of the different therapeutic riding organizations. It's not something really be licensed, I would say. As far as accreditation goes, we follow all of the rules and regulations in order to be able to pursue accreditation should we want to do so. Our staff are certified in their areas of expertise, but accreditation costs a substantial amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really weighing the cost benefit analysis of like, what would that do for our program, or does it do anything for our program? And at this point in time, that's not something that we have needed to or felt it was beneficial to pursue. And there was a huge barrier to being able to do so.
Okay. Thank you. And then finally with number 20, as an organization, do you guys plan on ever expanding on the amount of CTRSs you guys have employed?
Potentially by maybe one or two.
Okay.
But my program's really not going to grow a whole lot larger than where it is right now.
Okay, got it.
It's just kind of filling in some of the gaps that